Hello and welcome to What's That Behind You? In a continuation of haunting videos, today is one that has been requested. Today's video is all about the Enfield hauntings.
I'm invisible.
I'm invisible.
You're invisible? Why are you invisible?
I'm a G-H-O-S-T.
Because I'm a G-H-O-S-T.
On the evening of Tuesday, 30th of August 1977, Peggy Hodgson, a 47-year-old divorced mother of four, went into her children's bedroom to tell them to stop fighting and go to sleep. They were complaining that the bed was shaking, but thinking no more of it, she went to bed. The next night, she heard a shuffling noise, like someone walking about on the linoleum in slippers, and then 4 loud knocks. A chest of drawers slid across the floor. Peggy pushed it back, and it slid forward again. She tried to push it back, but she couldn't. It was then that the family fled to the Nottinghams at 282 Green Street and asked for help. Vic Nottingham, a roofer, and his son Gary went over to the Hodgson house to investigate and heard knocks coming from all over the house. The Enfield haunting was a series of alleged paranormal events that occurred in a council house in Enfield, a suburb of London in England, in 1977. The events were centred on a family that lived in the house, the Hodgsons. The Hodgson family consisted of Peggy, a single mother, and her 4 children, Margaret, Janet, Johnny, and Billy. The children at the time were aged between 7 and 13 years old.
There's a house in a terraced street in Ponders End, North London, where the events of the past 2 months have baffled all who've heard about them and scared the life out of those who've been directly involved.
What do you mean? I'm sorry, I'm not with you. What? I feel,
you with me now? With you?
It's taking the back and neck you.
Well, tell us about that.
I don't know how to
No, tell me
explain
about that. You get it? Do you get it now? It's buzzing in the back of the neck.
Yeah.
Do you feel it vibrating as if it was sort of?
No, like someone
Someone
got
what?
their hand on the back of my neck like that.
The events of the haunting includes objects moving on their own, strange noises, and furniture being thrown around the house. The 2 youngest children, Janet and Johnny, claimed to have seen the ghost of an old man who had died in the house. The hauntings also received widespread media attention. And over a period of around 18 months, more than 30 people, including the Hodgsons' neighbours, paranormal investigators, and journalists, said they variously saw heavy furniture moving of its own accord, objects being thrown across a room, and the sisters seeming to levitate several feet off the ground. Many also heard and recorded knocking sounds and a gruff voice. The story was regularly covered in the Daily Mail newspaper until reports came to an end in 1979. Vic Nottingham, the neighbour at the Enfield haunting, was no better placed to explain what he had witnessed. I heard the knocking as I walked in the front door. I went all over the house, just couldn't make out what it was. So in the end I thought, there's only one thing, I'll call the police. Vic then proceeded to call the police, and WPC Carolyn Heaps was first on the scene, and described seeing a chair sliding across the room. It came off the floor, maybe an inch or half an inch I should say, and I saw it slide off to the right, about 3.5 to 4 feet before it came to a rest. Following on from the local police and the neighbours that had visited the house, the Hodgsons had some rather famous visitors. Ed and Lorraine Warren, the paranormal investigators, were called in to investigate the Enfield haunting in 1978, 1 year after the events began. They spent several days at the house and claimed to have witnessed various paranormal phenomena, including levitating objects and Janet Hodgson being thrown across the room by an unseen force. The Warrens believed that the Enfield haunting was genuine, and that it was caused by a ghost of a man named Bill Wilkins who had died in the house. They claimed that the hauntings was a case of demonic infestation, and that Janet Hodgson had been possessed by the ghost of Bill Wilkins. Bill Wilkins was a real person who had lived and died in the Enfield house where the alleged hauntings occurred. According to the Hodgson family, who lived in the house at the time, Bill Wilkins was an elderly man who had died in his chair in the living room of the house. During the events of the hauntings, Janet, one of the children in the family, claimed to have been possessed by the spirit of Bill Wilkins. She spoke in his voice and provided details about his life that were later confirmed by his son, who was interviewed by investigators. One of the things to come from the investigations was some video evidence. Watch this small clip and see what you make of it.
I'm invisible.
I'm invisible.
You're invisible. Why are you invisible?
I'm a G-H-O-S-T.
Because I'm a Ghost. Yes, he had quite a sense of humour. He also used to swear.
Let me hear you say my name. Come on, let me hear you say my name. That's not my name. Come on, my name's Morris. Let me hear you say it.
Morris.
Say Dr. Belloc. Come on, let me hear you say that. Come on. Let's hear you say Dr. Belloc. Could you close that door down? Say Dr. Belloc. What is it? Now, if you squeak the bed, I can't hear you talking. Now, say Dr. Belloc. Come on. Come on, say it for me, Dr. Belloc.
Dr. Belloc. Right, that's good. I know. Shut up your door. I'm 72 years old. I come from Durham graveyard. And I have right near the church where Rita lives. And all my friends come from there as well. And we all make a game and go to the pub. And then we pick your house. Because I used to live here. And I will tell you some more. And if you don't tell anyone else, just set Mr. and Mr. Playback.
I want you to tell me whether you remember what happened to you when you died. Just before you died and just after you died.
What do you think of the voice? Is it the speech of a person from the other side? Or is it just the murmurings of a child? There's also some supposed photographic evidence of the levitations too, as you have seen throughout this video. Do you believe? Because not only was this the hauntings followed by the masses of believers, it also had its skeptics too. A 2016 article by psychology professor Chris French in Time Out magazine describes 5 reasons why he believed the case to be a hoax. His reasons are: the two sisters involved admitted hoaxing some of the activity. The photo of Janet levitating above her bed could just as easily be explained as Janet jumping. The spirit of an old man who supposedly possessed Janet took a great deal of interest in menstruation. Eyewitnesses are notoriously unreliable, and other schoolgirl pranks before and after have gotten out of hand. Despite the controversy surrounding this case, the Enfield haunting remains one of the most famous cases of alleged paranormal activity here in the UK. So what really happened in the Enfield haunting? Was it a genuine case of paranormal activity, or was it all a hoax? Despite years of investigation, there's still no definitive answer, and the case remains one of the most intriguing and controversial paranormal cases in history. What is your view on all of this? Please let me know down in the comments. Also, if you have enjoyed this, be sure to leave a like on the video, as it does help a lot, and consider subscribing for more. There is actually a whole playlist on the Casebook of Ed and Lorraine Warren. But for now, no matter how much that chair may move, or how many doors slam shut on their own, remember, you don't have to be afraid of what's behind you.